Welcome to the UK. Or maybe you're counting down the days, packed and ready to start your journey here. Either way, you're in for an amazing experience. But I want to give you a heads up. There are a few common, easily avoidable mistakes that too many newcomers make when they first arrive in the UK. And trust me, these are things you don't want to mess up. They can cost you time, money, and a whole lot of stress. So what are these mistakes? Today I'm going to share 10 things you absolutely should not do when you get here. We're talking fines, embarrassment, and possibly, yes, even legal trouble. Now, don't worry, I'm not trying to scare you, just look out for you. It's all a bit different here, in a charming, sometimes baffling way, but we want you to have a smashing time. Ready to dive in? Let's get started. Let's kick it off with public transport. Now, the UK's public transport runs on a trust system, and here's the catch. That trust system comes with a price. Picture this, you hop on a bus, or maybe the tube, thinking, I'll just skip the ticket this time. Who's gonna know? Well, darling, let me tell you, the inspectors always seem to know. They have a sixth sense, or maybe they can just smell fear. It's uncanny, really, the fine. Up to £80 on the spot. That's a hefty price for a quick ride. And for what? To save a couple of quid. Honestly, it's not worth the risk or the palpitations. Avoid this mistake by making it a habit to tap in and out. And if you're in London, keep that Oyster card handy or load up your contactless payment. Think of it this way, tapping your card is like a little welcome ritual to the UK transport system. Hello, I'm here, I'm a good citizen, please don't find me. See? Easy peasy. Save yourself the stress of looking over your shoulder every time the bus stops. All right, here's one that trips up a lot of people. Littering or, yes, even spitting in public. I know you'd think that's a given, right? But it's worth mentioning because local councils here take this very seriously. Deadly serious, darling. And by seriously, I mean they hand out fines like candy if they catch you. That innocent piece of gum or a paper receipt could cost you up to £150 if it ends up on the ground. Why so much? Well, the UK is big on keeping its streets clean. We like things tidy, shipshape. It's a bit of a national obsession, really. So if you don't want to pay a contribution to the council's cleanliness fund, find the nearest bin. They're everywhere, thankfully. We've got bins for everything. Recycling, general waste, even special ones for dog poo. You could say we're rather well equipped in the bin department. Now, let's talk about something every smoker needs to know, where you light up matters. There are no smoking signs in nearly every public place, from stations to hospitals and even some open areas. And I know what you're thinking, it's outside, right? But here in the UK, those little signs mean business. We're not messing about. If you're caught smoking in these areas, expect an on-the-spot fine of £50 or more. You might think it's just one cigarette. But those fines add up, and trust me, there's nothing worse than that awkward moment when you're asked to stub it out, or worse, get fined. It's like being told off by your headmaster, only worse because you have to pay for the privilege. Look, I get it. You need your nicotine fix, but do it where it's allowed. There are designated smoking areas, usually marked with a helpful cigarette symbol, you know, like a little beacon of hope for smokers everywhere. Chapter 4. Mind your pints and where you point them. Public drinking laws. Here's one I bet many of you didn't see coming. Drinking in public. Yes, you can enjoy a pint at a pub, we positively encourage it. But public drinking is a different story. You see, the UK has these things called Public Space Protection Orders, or PSPOs, which sound terribly official, don't they? Well, they are. These PSPOs restrict drinking in some public spaces like parks and city centres. Pause, lean in. Now, I know what you're thinking, but what's the harm in a cheeky little tipple in the park? And normally, I'd agree with you, darling. But if you're caught drinking in these areas, you could be looking at a fine of up to £500. That's a lot of money for what could have been a casual sip in the sun. You could buy a lot of pints with that in a pub where it's legal. So check for signs or ask a local before you crack open that can. We're a friendly bunch mostly, and we'd be happy to point you in the direction of the nearest pub. Chapter 5. Look right, then left, then right again. Pedestrian crossings. All right, this next one's for the jaywalkers out there. You know, the ones who like to live life on the edge, dodging traffic like it's a game of Frogger. In some countries, jaywalking isn't a big deal. But here in the UK, pedestrians are expected to use designated crossings like zebra crossings and pelican crossings. We've got names for them and everything. Raises eyebrows. And sure, while jaywalking won't get you thrown in jail, it could definitely land you in trouble if there's an accident. Imagine having to explain to a police officer, "Well, officer, I was crossing the road in a rather haphazard fashion when this perfectly innocent car..." See, not a good look, so take the extra few seconds and cross where you're supposed to. It's one of those little things that helps keep everyone safe and out of legal trouble. Plus, those zebra crossings are rather iconic, aren't they? Think of it as a photo opportunity. Chapter 6. One bin for all and all for one bin recycling right. Now let's talk about waste management, specifically recycling. In many parts of the UK, sorting your waste correctly isn't just encouraged, it's expected. It's practically a moral imperative, darling. You might be thinking, why the fuss? Well, some councils will actually fine you if you're not following the rules. Slight chuckle. Yes, you heard that right. Not sorting your recyclables can cost you. It's like a little environmental tax. So check with your local council on what goes where. It's a small effort for a big payoff. Plus, you'll get that warm, fuzzy feeling inside knowing you're doing your bit for the planet. And who doesn't love a bit of warm fuzziness? Next up, noise complaints. Here's where things can get tricky. You might love that new playlist blasting out those tunes at all hours, but your neighbours might not. Playing loud music, especially at night, can lead to fines of up to £5,000 in extreme cases. Pause, smile. I know, it sounds wild, but respecting quiet hours in residential areas is a big deal. We Brits, we like our peace and quiet. It's a precious commodity, especially in a bustling city. So maybe keep the volume down or invest in some headphones. It'll save you money and keep you in your neighbour's good books. And trust me, you want to be on your neighbour's good side. They're the ones who'll lend you sugar when you run out or recommend the best local takeaway. Chapter 8. Lights, camera, cycle safely. Biking in the UK. Are you planning to cycle around the UK? Excellent choice. It's a fantastic way to explore. But before you hop on that saddle, make sure your bike is equipped with proper lights and safety gear. Riding without lights or on the pavement can result in fines between £30 and £100. And no, it's not just for show. Biking here, especially in cities, is serious business. We've got cars, buses, lorries, black cabs, the lot, so be safe, be seen, and follow the rules to avoid those fines. Chapter 9. Council tax. Not the most exciting, but oh so necessary. Council tax sounds boring, doesn't it? Like something you'd rather not think about. But, darling, it's a must if you're renting here, unless you're a full-time student and qualify for an exemption. Skipping out on council tax can lead to serious fines, and even court orders. Nobody wants to end up in court, do they? Especially not over something as tedious as council tax. It's easy to forget, I know, life gets busy, bills pile up, but make it a priority to check your status. It's one of those things that keeps you in the clear with the council. And trust me, you want to be on their good side. They're the ones who empty your bins, after all. Chapter 10. Hands off that phone. Driving and mobile use. Last but definitely not least, using your phone while driving. The UK has very strict rules about this. Even touching your phone can result in a £200 fine and 6 penalty points. That's right, even a quick glance at a text message can land you in hot water. So set up that hands-free or turn on Do Not Disturb before you even start driving. Think of it as a digital detox, darling. The penalties here are no joke, and a quick text can end up costing a lot more than you'd think, not to mention the potential danger it poses to you and other road users. It's just not worth it. And there you have it, 10 mistakes you'll want to avoid when you first arrive in the UK. By steering clear of these, you're setting yourself up for a smoother, more enjoyable experience here. Because let's face it, nobody wants to spend their time worrying about fines or legal troubles. Now, if you're interested in building a secure, prosperous future while living in the UK, check out my next video on the power of compounding. It's all about making your money work for you. Click on the end screen and dive into this powerful financial strategy